Welcome back, all of you, to the third episode of this Oakland A's franchise series. Um, First of all, I want to say a big thank you to all of you. Put the support down low in the comments and sort of drop the likes on the videos. It really does help. Um, the support has been great so far. I really do appreciate it. But we're going to jump straight into this. The plans for this episode, if I'm honest, we're not going to be advancing very far. We're going to get the rookie draft done. But we're actually going to take a sort of, a deep dive into sort of the statistics, sort of, behind the team, why we're doing so well. We're going to take a deep dive into our prospects, sort of, how the organization's looking. And, in terms of that, we made a couple of trades as well. I made a couple of moves. And as well as that, we have had the All-Star game as well. So, we're doing so much better than I thought we would do. We're only 1.5 games back of the Astros. We're above 500. Really, really unexpected for us to be doing so well so far. They do have much better teams than us. I'm not gonna lie. Simeon, he's back. He's performing really, really well. He's batting very, very, very well. Seager as well, batting phenomenal for them. Rob Refschneider, I've never heard of him beforehand, but he made the All-Star game for them. They traded for him from Boston. That'd take that all day long, really. It's been a phenomenal start for us. It's starting to get to that point where you're starting to question, can we actually, make a push for this? Do I want to make trades sort of in the direction of sort of pushing for the playoffs, really? But the only thing I've got to keep in mind is, our farm system is horrendous, and, our owner wants us to build a top 6 minor league system. If we're going to have a challenge for a World Series, we really have to start sort of, making an improvement on this. However, at the same time, if we want to improve our budget, and up our sort of fan interest, we want to make the playoffs, really, and start performing well. So it's sort of, it's one of those where I'm confused and sort of where we should be going, the sort of direction of, what we should be doing. So, please, after this episode, do drop a comment down below, any advice, where we think we should go, what you think we should do with the team. But what I will do is I'll jump straight into this. I sort of have a look at the trades, and we'll sort of go through all of our sort of organisation, our team, and then we'll sort of jump into the rookie draft. Right, so we made a couple of trades back in June. Really, they were just sort of, they were too good to sort of not to pass up on, really. How that started initially was we had an offer come in for Tony Kemp, and I'm not entirely sure what the offer was. It was, it was mediocre, but I thought whilst I was at it, I sort of had a look at the sort of value of what we could get for him. He was playing very well for us. I'm not going to lie, very well. He's sort of batting around sort of league average, playing decent defense. He was a captain. He had great personality as well. But, the thing is, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. He'd want a larger contract sort of at the end of the year. And we don't have the money to pay him, especially to pay that out to someone like Tony Kemp. As much as he's good for us, if we can get something for him, we definitely would. And really, with that, all we did is we sort of dumped in Luke Anderson into the deal here. Sort of a very mediocre pitcher. But with that, what we got back, because we've actually got $1 million in cash, and Cole Young, who came straight in. I believe he's our number 3 prospect already. He was a first round pick last year for Seattle. To get $1 million cash extra as well. The main thing is obviously reducing our sort of payroll. We need the cash. And as well as that, to get a prospect of Cole Young's caliber back was phenomenal. It's too good to pass up on, really. I believe he is okay for them in sort of Double A. I've whacked him straight into Double A for us. He's hitting a little bit better for us, really. And in terms of this hit, he's getting on base at a much better percentage. But really, the other trade here now this was a bit of a major one. We did manage to trade away Jace Peterson, who was scheduled to be paid $5 million next season, as well as $4.5 until the end of this season. He's someone we really did want to get rid of. he wasn't even playing well for us. I mean, as you can see, he's gone to the Yankees and he's been unreal for them. I mean, only over 15 games, but he's playing really, really well for them. But he just wasn't working out for us. So, we decided to get rid of him. He only had a 38 OPS plus, 38 WRC plus, and so we sort of managed to trade him away, along with a couple of other players here. Jack Weisenberger, half decent pitcher, sort of reliever if his control comes around, but he's a 25-year-old reliever. I was fine with getting rid of him. Zhang, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. He is probably the player I didn't want to give up, but he's 22-year-old pitcher. If his movement comes around and his stuff comes around, he could be fairly good. But I was okay to give him up, for what we got back. Riccardi as well, nothing much to sort of write home about. But what we did is we did get back a 24-year-old Oswaldo Cabrera, who wasn't very good for the Yankees at all. He's been a bit better for us, sort of hitting closer to league average. Decent defense. He's more of a utility man. He can sort of play anywhere for us, really, which is, ideal. That's what we really want, especially for the bench. He's a fly ball hitter, has some fairly decent power, can make good contact, decent gap power, good discipline. If he develops more from what he's at the moment, he could be a very good player for us. But really the main thing was to get back a couple of prospects. We did get TJ Rumfield here, decent first baseman, to go into the organisation to fill it out a little bit more than what we have already. We don't have a lot sort of in our organisation at all. So we got him. And as well as that, this is probably the main pickup, is Roderick Arias. He's an 18-year-old. He's so far away from the majors at the moment. He's got so much developing to do. But, if he comes around on this, that's going to be a phenomenal pickup, really, for Jace Peterson. Great third baseman, phenomenal infield arm. He can be a really good defender at third base. Plays second base. He even can play a bit of shortstop as well. 50 shortstop, isn't too much to write home about, but he can do the job there. And if this comes around, he's going to be phenomenal for us. So we made that trade with no qualms about it at all. It's a really good trade to make. But what we will do is before we jump into the rookie draft and everything, we'll sort of run through a few of our sort of players in our minor league system. Check see what we've got. Check where our players are at, and then we'll sort of jump into the rookie draft really. Right. So before I forget and move on, what I will say is, we're a day before the draft, but the All-Star Game rosters have been announced yesterday. We did change the settings. If I pop through to, where did I have it? Options. We did have the force all teams to be represented off. So for us to pick up any All-Stars, it wasn't expected this season at all. But we did manage to get 2 players in the All-Star Game. JP Sears here, he's 86 fit minus, 168 ERA plus, 2.5 ERA. Pitching really, really well for us. So he made the All-Star Game, which is, great news. All-Star already, he's got plenty of team control left. He's only had 1 year and 11 days in the majors, so, we'll take that all day long. And as well as that, we actually did get Connor Capel in the All-Star Game, phenomenal personality. But he's batting, really, really well for us, a 314 average, 370 OBP, 136 OPS plus, he's already put up 2 WAR. He's been really, really good for us. And especially if we sort of jump into things now, I can sort of show you, he's on a hot streak at the moment. So is Rucinski, Estru Ruiz, Waldershuk, Nick Allen's on a cold streak. But, things are looking great. And we're actually only, 1.5 games back of the Astros. It's really looking like we could actually compete and challenge for the playoffs. Which, we'd be stupid not to, really. To go for that, it'd be phenomenal already to sort of make the playoffs in the first season. Mainly, really, just for the fact of we can sort of, up our budget. If we can increase fan interest, I believe that the fan interest at the start of the season was closer to 30, and we've already got up to 46. That is improving. Actually, I will be able to see that. Yeah, it was 30, currently 46. If we can keep increasing that sort of fan interest, we will be able to up our budget. If we can up our market size, up our fan loyalty, those are going to sort of correlate with the budget. So if we can do that, that'd be phenomenal. And sort of one other change I did make is I have literally only just upped the ticket price here to $25 because it was at set of $5. Every other team I sort of went through and checked, they're all above $25. So, for us to be challenging for the playoffs, putting up a, above 500, decent record and still be charging $5, I had to up it, call me greedy, but it had to be done. And then in terms of that's sort of, how we're looking sort of, with our major league roster. I have a couple of other players that, pitching really well, obviously JPC as we looked at, but Waldichuk, he's performing really, really well for us. Put up a great FIP, great ERA plus. I did promote him to the sort of, starting lineup. He was sort of in the bullpen originally, but and then as well as that, sort of batting wise, SG Ruiz is, performing phenomenally. If we check our WAR, he's putting up a 2.9 WAR already. 114 OPS plus. Stole 31 bases at 97% base stealing percentage, and as well as that, he's put up a 3.4 zone rating in centre field. So he's someone, if we're going to give out a contract to anyone, it's probably going to be Estru Ruiz. He's been really, really good for us, and it doesn't, to have someone at centre we don't have to worry about who's putting up who has a good bat, putting up good defense. It makes me more than happy to sort of forget about how poor Kristen Pache's been. But I say that he's coming on. I moved into the bench, sort of a defensive sub, but he's proved a little bit. He's brought that negative WAR, but back up a little bit. But I'm just happy to sort of use him as a defensive sub off the bench, for the moment. See if he can bring his bat around a little bit. We'll perhaps give him another chance, but it's rather frustrating. I can't move him down AAA. I don't want to lose him, so I sort of just keep him on the subs bench for now. See if he can make any improvements to his power, make any improvements to his contact. That'd be phenomenal, and then maybe we'll give him another chance. But so that's sort of how our lineup is looking. In terms of sort of trades, between now and sort of the trade deadline, I mean, it's put us in a tough situation, being so close to sort of, making the playoffs, sort of being in that playoff sort of hunt. Sort of makes me wary of sort of, getting rid of sort of any of our veterans, but, those, Aguilar hasn't even been any good for us, really. He's batting league average at first base. We can do much better than that, so I'll be fine to sort of, trade him away, especially if we can get any prospects for him. Same with Perez, he's, batting close to league average as a catcher. We'll take that all day long. But what I will say, if we drop down to sort of, AAA, we got Pozo here, who I'm sure... I was going to say I'm sure he could do a job in the majors, but he has been awful in AAA. So maybe not. We have to leave that for now. That's the first time I've seen that. That is outrageous. But I think, between now and sort of, the end of the season, I'll probably look to, potentially give sort of Gage Workman a chance sort of up in the majors. He's pitching, he's playing very well, batting very well in the minors in the AAA team. Same with Zach Geloff. Been very good. But that's sort of how things are looking as far as, our major league roster. But the one other thing I will jump into, just sort of have a look at sort of, before we jump into the draft and sort of add a few normal players to our system, I will sort of show you sort of how we're looking in terms of our sort of minor league system. If we go to our prospect pipeline, Oakland days, we'll take a look at our top 20. It's not it's not looking good. We only have 11 players in the top 500. The one thing I will say about that, someone like Roger Arias, so far away from the majors, 2026, that I'm absolutely fine with that. Obviously with a lot of these players here, their ETA is a lot further down the line. So, I mean, I say that we've got quite a few scheduled to come up next year that I'll be happy to sort of give a chance. Zach Geloff, they believe he should come up this year, so perhaps we'll sort of give him a go, perhaps in sort of September. Either that, or if we make any sort of trades. And then as well as that, obviously Soderstrom, he's our top prospect. Not a catcher. Plays some okay left field, so I've sort of been training him up there. He's been batting okay. I say okay. 374 on base, 520 slugging. Same with Geloff's been great in AAA. Obviously we've got Cole Young here. Obviously I talked about him being our third rated prospect already. We've got Medina, who is actually I believe he's in AAA, yes, for Las Vegas. If his control comes around, he could be great for us. But I am sort of relying on that improving just a little bit, before I, try and move him up to the majors. Hernandez as well, another good player we got in AAA. I think the thing, we're kind of spoiled in terms of our sort of, infielders. We got Geloff, we got Young, Hernandez, Max Muncy, and I believe, got Angeles. And as well as that, I believe if we go to our... Where is he? Is he injured? Yes, he is. Brett Harris. Brett Harris seems to have a decent bit of potential at third base, second base. So we're okay. We're kind of set for sort of infielders, but we don't really have much in the way of sort of, outfielding sort of potential. Shortstop. We don't have much at shortstop really. I mean, Angeles isn't really a shortstop. If we go to our player development here, Cole Young doesn't play good enough defense. Angeles, I say that Workman, he plays decent sort of shortstop defense, so we have him there to sort of come up. We got Max Muncy, Geloff at third base, Arias, TJ Rumfield. We obviously traded for him. In the outfield, I say that we got Butler. He's really got a decent bit of potential here. He's not batting phenomenally in sort of double A, but I'll probably leave him there for the rest of the year. He's got decent power if he comes around. Got Elliott Clark, Denzel Clark as well. I say Elliott Clark. Is that Clark Elliott? Clark Elliott. Fairly decent centre field defense as well. But obviously with Estru Ruiz, it's not a major need for us really. We've got Henry Bolts down in rookie ball. Soderstrom at left field. Buelvas as well. Oof, okay. He had been phenomenal for us in Able, so I did move him up, even though he's only 21. He hasn't done well in high A, but I'll probably leave him there for now. In terms of that pitching wise, Salinas as well. If his control comes around, he can be an unbelievable pitcher for us. You just need that to come up a little bit. If I can get to 45%, movement gets to 50, stuff comes up to 65, he's got the pitcher. The pitches are phenomenal. He could really be a good player for us. What I will do as our sort of, I skip next day, we'll jump straight into the draft and sort of see how that goes, and then we can sort of, arrange everything from there. Right, so we're at the draft here. Picking 6th. I'm sure you can get a very good player at that. As far as the draft sort of pool wise, what I will say is pitchers wise, it's not looking very strong. So in terms of sort of, bringing in a pitcher, that might be something we want to do, sort of depending on who sort of falls to us. Carson Montgomery, if his movement and control comes around a bit, he could be a phenomenal pitcher. High school pitchers, extreme fly ball, low movement potential anyway, hasn't even developed. He isn't someone I'll be looking to sort of select really. But pitcher, we're definitely targeting a pitcher. Paul Skeens, college pitchers we really do like. Obviously, those three pitches, if they all come in at 70s, that'd be phenomenal. If his movement comes up a little bit, he could be a great pitcher for us. Christian Little as well looks, fairly decent. So we'll definitely be targeting a pitcher. We'll see who falls to us at 6th. Obviously, the one thing we will be aware of is our budget. We're not going to go massively over. We would look to try and carry some cash. So if we can carry some extra cash in sort of next season, that'd be phenomenal. Hopefully we can sort of use that on our sort of player development budget for next season. The one thing I will jump into here, we have 17 million available. So we managed to clear some space. So we do have sort of plenty of potential, sort of what we can do during the draft. So what we just jump straight into it and sort of see how it goes, really. This is the first draft I've done in this game. I haven't really played any offline games. I haven't got as far as a draft yet. Obviously, as you can tell, I do play at a very slow pace. So we'll jump straight into the draft, see what happens, see what falls to us. Pittsburgh got the first pick. Who will they select? So they've gone for Chase Donder. Pitcher's gone already. 21-year-old college pitcher. I mean, unless OS, I'm not a fan of that pick. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, an extreme fly ball pitcher. He does pitch at good velocity, but the movement's far too low. Really, it hasn't developed. It's only a 25 at movement with a 40 potential. If that doesn't come up, I could really see him being a bit of a bust personally. Not a fan of that first pick. Washington picking second. They go with Dylan Cruz. You can see exactly why. Phenomenal bat, great power. More of a corner outfielder though. But that bat will be phenomenal if he's fairly developed already in terms of his contact, power, discipline. If that comes up, he'd be phenomenal for them. Detroit picking at number 3. Jacob Gonzalez, third college player going already. Good second baseman, can play a bit of shortstop. Very developed already. He could be a phenomenal player. Very low floor. But he could be a great bat. Texas next. Max Clark. Great outfield range. He could probably play centre. Decent player. Obviously high school bat, so he's got to develop a fair bit. Minnesota. Dylan Cup. Another high school. Fairly decent, could be a fairly decent shortstop. Very decent second baseman. He's an 18-year-old high schooler. Nearly 19 though. But relatively developed. 30 contact, 35 void Ks, 35 discipline already. Decent potential. Could be a great player for them. But okay, so now we're up. In terms of what we've got here, I'm very, very tempted to go for Jake Geloff. Mainly due, obviously, because his brother is already in our minor league system. If we can sort of have a Geloff sort of brothers tandem in the lineup, that could be phenomenal for marketing. Very tempted to go for Geloff personally, but obviously there's much better players here. You've got Enrique Bradfield Jr. here. Phenomenal outfielder, phenomenal centre fielder. Great potential. Very, very, very solid base at the moment. He's developing his contact, power, discipline, void Ks. Got a fair way to go as well. Phenomenal speed, stealing. The only thing with him I would say is, we've pretty much already got the same player in Esteury Ruiz in terms of, the range, the defense, the speed, the base stealing. The batting, obviously, Esther Ruiz has a bit more power. Probably as an overall bat, without the, if his power comes along a little bit, you could probably get close to Ruiz in terms of his batting. Obviously, his power isn't there, but the contact, discipline, avoid Ks is there. Who else have we got? Carson Montgomery is here. Very tempted. How much does he want now? 6 million. Okay, so we've also got Paul Skeens here. I don't know if I'm happy with that movement though. I mean, the free pitches are phenomenal. The control is unreal. The stuff is great. But that movement, 21-year-old, but for 75,000. If we're really trying to save money here, that he would be a phenomenal pick. But also, I will say George Walco, already starting to develop, just a little bit. He's only 17. 17 years, 181 days. Not a very good defender. He'd probably be a first baseman. Can he play outfield? He could be probably a left fielder as well, but obviously we already have Soderstrom. But that bat, only 17 years of age, he could be a very good selection. But what I will do for now is I think I am going to go for, because Marauder, I don't like his movement. It's too much risk. I think I'm going to go for Carson Montgomery with our first pick here. He wants 6 million. I think he's worth taking with our number one pick. Our first round pick. The movement and control already coming along. If that comes up a bit, I think he could be a very solid pick. 4 pitches. But have a phenomenal fastball, phenomenal slider, great change-up, decent cutter as well. It's already came along. It's already at 50. He already has 3 decent pitches. But if they all develop, he could be a very, very, very good starter for us. If we go to our scout, I think he'd be a number two starter. But if he really develops, he could by all means sort of anchor our rotation. Paul Skeens is obviously the only other one. But that movement I think is just a little bit too low for us. I mean, I say that obviously he's his movement is the same as Carson Montgomery, and his control is lower, but obviously there's a bit more potential here for those to sort of rise. So I believe we're going to go with Montgomery for the first pick. Yes. Okay, so that's 6 million. Sort of gone if I jot that down. I think we're just going to auto draft until the next pick. Or maybe we'll do the top 10. Right, Trey Morgan goes number 8. Phenomenal bat, phenomenal personality. That if that contact to the 40Ks comes with the power, he's a ground ball hitter though. But first baseman, left fielder, college player, I think that's actually a phenomenal pick. Probably should have took a little bit more of a look at him, but we, with how sort of the availability of the pitching here, I feel like we did have to take a picture really. Next is Enrique Bradfield Jr. Not surprised him going high. Colorado with the 10th pick, Kevin McGonigal. Fair enough, decent second baseman, is not a shortstop at all. But we'll auto draft to the next pick. Okay, so we got any pitchers available? High school pitchers. only, really. I mean, he's not a bad college pitcher at all. Let's have a look at Eldridge. Pitching wise, he's okay. The movement again. I don't like it when when the movement's so low. Already, it's only a 20 or 25 with such low potential. I just can't really see that sort of coming around. Um, he's still here. I mean, if he drops low enough, I'll be more than happy to take him. But I think we're just going to go for a batter here because what we will do actually, if we go and we sort it by some batting potential. Let's see what we've got. Okay. I didn't see that coming. I should have looked into this. Okay, it was here the whole time. Wow. Okay, and he can play probably I mean, the turn double play isn't phenomenal, but I'm now actually very tempted. Not by the pitching as much, more by the bat here. Because he's an extreme fly ball pitcher, but if we can get him as a two-way player and see how he comes along, I think the potential here in the bat is phenomenal as well. I do think he may potentially be worth taking. I mean, that's why it's always worth sort of going because sometimes you can get pitchers that you don't realise are phenomenal, do have phenomenal bats. Obviously, Walco, I believe is how the name is pronounced. He's another player here I do really like. He's so young, lefty bat, decent infield arm. He isn't a third baseman though. He's probably more of a first baseman. Or left fielder. But I mean that's such a complete bat. He's a ground ball hitter, but normal spray hitter. Slow runner. Doesn't really steal bases though, but high adaptability. I think that comes in well. If he's a two-way player, with high adaptability, good loyalty, I think he's worth taking. For 750,000 bonus demand, I definitely do think he's worth a shot. Hopefully, he will be available sort of next round. I really am hoping. So I believe if we go for him here, we're advancing the next pick. Okay, that's phenomenal. I think he might well just be worth taking here, with the third pick. Another 17-year-old, fairly decent defense. Good work, high work ethic, high intelligence, high leader. Isn't a catcher. Low work ethic. Another two-way player. What's his defense? I mean, meh. Third baseman. Left fielder. Yeah. Low intelligence. I think I will go for George Walco again. Bonus demand is only 650,000. I will go to the next round. I think we're going to do the first 5 rounds and then I'll finish it off and sort of, run through everything with you. We'll do sort of the first 5 rounds so you can sort of see what I'm thinking, really. Eric Batonti, okay, that's really, really low potential on him. You usually see him much higher, more, like at 80 potential. He must have really fell off. Justin Best, decent bat. Good pitching potential. Doesn't have the third pitch. They have decent stamina. That change up improved a little bit, but he doesn't have the personality. Yeah, that's a no. High work ethic, but he does have low intelligence. 6'3", 19. Obviously, we spoke about him before. Low intelligence again, though. High school pitchers don't often sort of, come good. Low movement, low control. Oh, okay. I mean, the movement and control hasn't really developed, but these three pitches, the movement can really develop. Up to 55, with the control does come along. I don't mind taking Randall here. Don't know what the personality class is. He doesn't have high or low anything there, but I think I'm gonna go for Randall here. Bonus demand 75,000. Yeah, I take him. If that third pitch comes around, we have a great slider, good stamina. Let's have a look at the. Let's just see what's available. All round. I mean, Batonti, I am tempted to pull on him. He's only a 17-year-old. Usually see him being much better than what he is here, so. But same with, I mean, the movement, obviously we spoke about this, I'm not a fan of this, but with everything else he does have, if he's dropped this far down, if I can take him at this sort of level here, I'll be more than happy to take him in the, fourth round now, so. It's him or Batonti, really. Although, what's this? He's already 30. Okay. I do quite like this, actually. Very good floor. 30 overall, ready for my scout, but it's decent contact, decent gap power already. The home run power can increase. He'll have a decent eye, decent avoid Ks. He's just a really good all-round bat. Very, decent defensive ratings. He can play second, play decent short. He probably play very good third as well. I feel like he's just a good player to have in the organisation. That great player to have in the organisation. Really. I mean, not phenomenal in college, but great competition level at least. But Scout does think he's he is very good. I think I'm going to trust the Scout on this one. I'm going to hope that Capocci and Batonti are going to be around for us to take. Really. Yeah, Batonti's around. Capocci's gone, but I'll take Batonti here. 4.2 bonus demand. Okay. You know what? I think. What's this? Decent defender. You know what? That's threw me off a little bit. Um, Very good defender. Second, third, played decent shortstop, good infield range. Um, um, he does, has a great personality here. Batonti. He's only 17, 6'4". But with the 4.2 million donuts tonight, I'm gonna hope he stays around and he sticks for next round. I'm gonna go for Golden. He's a bit more of a sure thing. And if Batonti's still around, I'll take him next round. I know I only said I'll do 5, but hopefully he's gonna be around for the next pick. And he's not. Mate, that's more than okay. I'm fine with that. I made I made that selection. Thinking that whew, that's not ideal. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to finish out the rest of the draft, and I'll come back to you at the end. We'll sort of run through where I've gone from here, and sort of see where they'll slot into our organisation really from there. So I'll jump through this, and I'll see you at the end. We got all of that draft done. Obviously we can go through our selections now. So obviously we took Montgomery, in the first round. Landon Maraudis, obviously two-way player. He could be absolutely phenomenal. I'm really actually bugged that I missed out on that the first time around, because he could be something else. We did get Wolko as well. He's 17 years, 181 days. Very, very young. Hell of a bat if it comes round. Probably more of a first, but actually we did have a look. More of a left fielder, I would say. But we'll see if his bat comes around. Obviously we did take Cal Randall, Castagnosi, Goldner. Obviously it was the last sort of selection we took instead of Batonti. We then did take Duke Ekstrom. Obviously, it's these 3 pictures. If they come around, he's got great stamina. His movement will have to come up, and so is his control. But certainly potential there. Obviously, you got to take what you can get with the pictures. If we can get something out of him, it'd be phenomenal. We then did go with Justin Best in the 7th round. Great gap power. Obviously, he hasn't really came along yet, but he's only 18. High school bat. We then took Lane Forsyth. Great defense. Can play good shortstop, second base. Not much of a bat. College player, but he's starting to develop a little bit. But if these can come along a bit more, great defender. So we can see what you do really. Mo Hampton. We then went great centre fielder, good defense, power starting to come along. College player, his ratings are already starting to develop a bit. If this can develop, maybe it make the majors sort of as a bench bat. But obviously his contact and the void Ks will have to come along a bit more. But good player, great defender. We'll see what happens with him. Obviously, this far down, anything you can get from them will be great, really. But we then took RJ Mayer, 80 outfield range. I know in past sort of editions of OOTP, when I've had sort of the max stats at 80 off, he's been as high as 105, 110, 115 outfield range, which is outrageous. So it's just great to have him in the minors. If his bat can ever develop, he's a phenomenal defender. So we just take that chance on him. We then took Kimbley I'm not even going to try and attempt to pronounce that name unless he sort of becomes a half decent prospect for us. But good enough catcher ability, decent bat. If it comes along, he's a college player, starting to develop a bit. If he comes along, he could certainly be something for us. Good to take in the 11th round at least. Then we took another decent sort of catcher ability. If his bat ever comes along, it'd be something for us. Then we went with Braxton Stewart. Great personality, phenomenal personality. Movement obviously really poor. Control. Stuff and control is starting to come along a little bit. Obviously they have to really develop, but here I have two phenomenal pitches, a slider and a change-up, but that fastball has to, if that fastball comes along and develops and starts to improve, he would actually be a really good selection. He's got good stamina. He's more of, if he does develop and our outlook on him changes, maybe he could be something for us. We then went with Cole Miller, another pitcher, 50 all round, stuff, potential control. If any of that can improve even further, great change up if it develops. Good fastball, good slider, high school pitcher. You never know what you're going to get with these, so they're always worth taking a chance on. Luke Boyers, good college bat, 22 years old, starting to develop a fair bit already. Good speed, good base running, stealing. Won't play centre, be more of an outfielder, but if his power can develop a bit more, he's a line drive hitter, and any of these can come around, maybe you can make an impact for us. As well as that, we took, I believe, was that in the 16th round? We took this guy in the 16th round. Nothing phenomenal, but our scout thought highly of him. If these ratings can come around, he'd be a good player. The defense isn't great. He's more of a second baseman, but it's worth taking a shot in the 16th round. And then we took Sam Robertson. Great personality. Maybe that'll have an impact on his potential and development. We then went with Ryan Lasco, great power, starting to develop already, college player, corner outfielder. If that power in this bat starts to come along, be a great pickup late at the end of the draft. Jackson McKenzie, just a first baseman, phenomenal power. If any of this develops, fly ball hitter, good personality. We'll see if we can get anything from him. It's a 19th round, so you might as well take a chance on someone. And then Josh Moylan, we did get in the last round of the draft. DH, he's a DH really, but great power. If this comes along, his bat, his bat actually performs. Maybe you can come up in the majors with a DH down the line. He's already got a bit of development here, good power, but we see what we can get from him. But that's what we took in terms of the draft. I've negotiated with the draftees. I just gave them all their demand. We didn't spend a whole lot. I mean, realistically, we probably spent less than 10 million, which I'll take all day long, really. If we go to our front office, we still have 7 million spare at the end of the season. What I will do from here, I already went through and changed a few of the the minors. I changed a few of the minors systems around, made some promotions, demotions, went through, see how they're all getting on. Max Muncy came up. He was playing phenomenal in high A, 156 OPS plus, and moved him up to double A. Made a few more changes, went around, did all of that really. Made all those changes, a couple of the college players we did draft. Lane Forsyth, Luke Boyers brought up to A-ball. Robert Poisson, doing phenomenal in Dominican League. Brought him up to A-ball, 209 OPS plus. If he can perform, here as well, we'll actually get a scouting report on him. But you could actually be a decent defender at the shortstop. If with that power as well, if some of the other, bat ratings start to develop, he could actually do something for us. But really, with this episode, it's more of a deep dive into everything. Get the draft done. We haven't really advanced at all, very far on. But what I will do, in the next episode, we'll get the trade deadline done, and then potentially the rest of the season. Depending on how our record, starts to go. If we're still in the hunt for the playoffs, we'll slow it down a little bit. But what I will say is, please do drop sort of, comments down below. Let me, what you think. Do you like sort of, like a slower pace of things, where we take a look into all the minor league systems and to all the players, see what's going on really? Or would you like me to sort of speed it up a bit and sort of, rush through things a bit more? Please let me know down below. But I hope you enjoyed the first few episodes. We're actually doing fairly decent, and the minor league system's starting to come around. Ratings wise it's not there, but obviously you draft a few good players. What I will do is obviously, potentially make some trades sort of come up to deadline day. If we're in the hunt for the playoffs, I am sort of tempted to make a few trades for some decent players, just to sort of make that push. But at the same time, I don't want to sort of invest too much in that when realistically we need to be improving our farm system sort of for the future really. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next one.